I kind of think it'd be nice if all of us were registered as independents and only the candidates had to delineate themselves by philosophy, because we'd be the only one standing.
Please help me welcome Barry Hess. Mostly right. That's kind of unusual being a libertarian, because usually they get it wrong. Even the pollsters have us listed not by name or by party, but as some other.
When I became a libertarian in 1987, it caused some rifts personally, where Republicans that I had been friends with wouldn't talk to me anymore, and that I had sold out. And I was like, wait a minute, aren't we in this for our families? Is it about the party, preserving it, or is it about preserving America? And I chose America.
I don't know if I've given any speeches at this height before. Well, I tell you, it is probably one of the most astonishing privileges that any man can ever have to represent a district in the United States Congress. Well, I tell you, when you're talking about a lot of third-party candidates, they've traditionally made a pretty big difference in a lot of different ways. In Mr. Hess's case, for instance, when he ran for governor, when Mr. Napolitano and Matt Salmon were in the race, if Barry Hess hadn't been in the race, Janet Napolitano would very likely not have won as governor.
What is fascinating to me is when you see it, because I hear it from Republicans and Democrats, that we steal their votes as if they owned them. I think that's childish.
Now, Barry Hess and I know each other very well. We're good friends, and I respect Barry.
Well, Trent is one of the rare people who has lied to me eyeball to eyeball, and so as a politician, I've lost respect.
When it comes to fiscal policy and free enterprise and things of that nature, I'm very close to libertarian myself.
In fact, Trent would be the first one to tell you he's a libertarian.
And I'd like to finish the job and then go home, and I'll go home right now. Thank you all very much.
You know, this is the second time Barry and I have been in an election together, and he's got a very, he's got a point of view. I don't agree with it, but he's a nice guy.
The people I run against tend to give me plenty to shoot at because they're all lying.
You know, I got into this race because I believe very strongly that my core values.
I thought there was something to this politics. I actually believed in the idealized version of these guys really want to help America. And yeah, since then I've grown a little more cynical.
That those are the core values of the people of the state of Arizona. And I have believed that for many years.
The newspapers quote these polls as the gospel. And I would tell people that unless they give you the exact text of the question, the control group that they called, and the surrounding circumstances of how that poll was taken, they should assume that they are lies, that they're actually being manipulated.
Right now I help him by putting up signs, driving him to and from events when I can, when I'm not going to school, and just any little job that needs to get done, whether it be go pick him up food so he doesn't have to take the time to do that, to answering some phone calls for him. I just pretty much do everything for him.
There was some resistance. My wife, she understands that when I get into something, I really want to do a good job and do the most that I can. I don't think she's a real fan of me working at it 20 hours a day and then exhausting myself and waking up a day later just because I'm just out of it. But I want to do the best I can, and she, of course, has concerns that not only my health, but my attentions. My son has been very supportive. My entire family has been, my extended family.
In our daily life, it's kind of interesting because we still have dinner as a family, which is unique, which is kind of cool. But he's always on the phone. We usually eat dinner around 10:30 p.m. every night, which is not normal. So that's probably the difficult thing because I can't talk to him. In terms of if I have a question, I feel rude by interrupting.
I think we will. Okay, thank you. All right, bye.
Pretty much anything you can think of. We shuffle in a lot of volunteers, make a lot of phone calls. coordinate a lot of things, a lot of running around, a lot of exciting things happening, but it's always really busy and there are always people here, so.
This is the heart. This is where the center of communications happens. We had to get down to Tucson to an editorial board, so we left it at like 5:30. And so we went through that rigmarole, got down there, got dressed up, changed back into our shorts, put up a few signs on the way, you know, because we all do everything. We are CEO and janitor of the whole shot, put up some signs, and then we immediately drove. Clean Elections is one of those, another government program that is named exactly the opposite. And what it is taxpayer funding for campaigns. Janet likes to say, in particular, that, well, it frees her up so she can go out and talk to people rather than have to worry about raising money. And reporters have asked me this all the time. How much money have you raised? As if that's some indicator of your seriousness or your substance. And Len, I really haven't talked much about him. He says we should use the Clean Elections, and then once he gets in, he's going to get rid of it because it's wrong. That's like if we kill you, we can stop murder.
Joining me now is Libertarian candidate Barry Hess, the Republican challenger Lynn Munsell, and Democratic incumbent Janet Napolitano.
I'm no psychic, but I can tell you exactly what's going to happen here tonight. We're going to have a Democrat, and she's going to tell you that she knows how to run your life, raise and educate your children, and spend your hard-earned money better than you can. Now, the Republican is going to be a little bit different. He's going to tell you he knows how to run your life, raise and educate your children, and spend your hard-earned money better than the Democrat. As the Libertarian, I have to tell you the truth.
You know, for the past 3.5 years, I've had the honor and privilege of serving as your governor. When I took office, Arizona was not in very good shape. We were over $1 billion in deficit. Our economy was not moving. We had just come out of the alternative fuels fiasco.
My name is Lynn Munsell. I'm the Republican candidate for governor of Arizona. I am a native Arizonan, third generation of the state. One of the great joys that I've experienced over the last 8 months is traveling the state of Arizona, getting a chance to talk to tens of thousands of individual citizens in homes, at community events, learning what's on their heart, their desires, their hopes, their dreams for the state of Arizona.
Find me in there. Well, let's see. We'll have to thumb through a little bit. Let's go. Oh, there I am on 18A. And what was funny is they hadn't even done an interview. They'd interviewed them. This is the article that said enough is enough. We're done. Now it's time to play with these guys. No, I think Matt is just a young reporter, and many times that's what they normally do, is put the young new reporter on the political races, specifically so the editors rewrite all of their stories and tell them how they want it. And I think these kids don't realize they're giving up their journalistic integrity and their credibility.
Matthew Benson. I'm a political reporter for the Arizona Republic. I cover the governor's office. Well, the story started on page 1. If I remember correctly, it started on page 1 with just a few inches on page 1, and then as stories do, especially front page stories, they jump inside. That story happened to jump to page 18, and Mr. Hess happened to be on the jump. I would say that as a newspaper, you don't have unlimited resources, you don't have unlimited space, and you have to make editorial decisions in terms of how much coverage to give different candidates.
But right now, running for governor, I like the way that, I just like, you know what, Barry, I just like this, I like this headline right here. Help Hess raising funds to combat media bias in the Arizona Reg.
The Arizona Republic, of course. Let me switch back to my gubernatorial hat. The real terrorists are the Arizona Republic, and their ilk.
Oh, now see, I've never. I agree.
It'd be hard to disagree.
I agree.
When you're a reporter, especially when you're a political reporter, you become accustomed to candidates and their handlers and their spokespeople becoming upset with you from time to time, and it's not at all unusual. And Barry in this campaign chose to make the Republic one of his issues, and that That's his choice, and that doesn't impact how I do my job.
The libertarians, you got it. Like somebody gave that to me and said, "You won't dare put that up." Yes, I will, because I think it's funny.
We do drugs, we don't pay our taxes, and we are hermits pretty much. We just live up in the woods and, you know, kind of like Ted Kaczynski kind of stuff, you know? But that's not true at all. Fundamentally, I believe everything he does in terms of the political philosophy itself. I don't agree with the whole party situation. They seem to be kind of doing what the Republicans and Democrats do, in terms of it's always like a seniority thing. The people at the top of the party have to have the best ideas, so if a new guy comes in, they don't listen to him. I've noticed that through going to the different conventions. My dad's come up with a lot of great ideas to get publicity to the party, and they pretty much just say, no thanks, we don't need your advice.
Yeah, I kind of knew 4 years ago that I was going to be running this time. It becomes kind of my little way of saying to the world, I'm not going to have to answer to my children in the next generation when they say, what did you do when the socialists came and wrecked the country and stole our sustenance?
It's funny, the candidates who complain that the polls are wrong are the candidates who are trailing. And you never put too much emphasis on any single poll, but when you have 5 and 6 polls showing very similar numbers, as they did in this case with Mr. Hess, then you do have to put some stock in it. And in fact, in the only poll that mattered, last Tuesday on Election Day, he in fact received roughly 2% of the vote. Now, I'm sure Barry would say that that is in part because of the polls, or because of the coverage he received, or who knows.
Governor, how do you feel about this election?
Well, obviously very pleased overall. Very pleased with my own race. Looking forward to serving again with Attorney General Goddard, and looking forward to working with the legislature.
Well, you know, they say try again, and I'm all excited to try again, but it's gone a lot better, and we've learned new techniques on how to go around the media, so that particularly in this campaign, there was a concerted effort. We have it in writing from one of the major newspapers, well, the state paper of record, that they were going to try to minimize or marginalize me and the party. I think they had about as big of a poof as they could, and that's exciting because we will win, they'll be gone, we'll be the last man standing, because we just refuse to quit. I'm glad to be in the position I am. I'm kind of the white knight who's tilting at windmills, and if that's the case, I'm going to kill me some windmills.